Cool scene yesterday on campus. Now to work. Scott Woodward, kind enough to join us here on Off the Bench, day after he is introduced on campus. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for joining us here on Off the Bench.
Hey, good morning, Jordy. Good morning, T-Bob.
Last two places I've seen you publicly in Baton Rouge has been Jay's Barbecue and Phil's Oyster Bar. It doesn't get too much more Baton Rouge than that. What's the coolest part about being home?
Yeah, it's really great to see all the old places and all the old haunts that I've visited, and believe it or not, I snuck home pretty much as often as I could to see Mom and Dad. So I would frequent those places on the weekends when I was there. So, but it's good. It's just good seeing everyone, and it's great seeing all these great Tigers out there.
And so, Scott, for all the talk of coming home, I want to ask you about kind of your journeys up to this point, because it's kind of almost like a prodigal son type moment. Like you had to go out west, find your fortune out west in the Pacific Northwest. Like you can't get more different than South Louisiana. How do you think you grew? What lessons did you learn having to find success in a foreign environment like that?
Yeah, it was really great experience and working with great people. For people that don't know, really Coach Saban, who I worked with early at really learned his system of football from a guy named Don James, who was the head coach at Kent State when Coach Saban was a player there. And really that methodical playing of football and that methodical organization of sports came from him. And so there was a great tradition at UW that I had really learned, and while Coach James was living, learned a lot from him. So, you just never know where things come from and pedigrees come from and what you can learn. And I learned a lot there. Coach James was on my committee to rebuild Husky Stadium and had a lot of great ideas about how we did the football operations center. So you just never know who touches you along the way and how lucky you get. And obviously, at the time, my leader, Mark Emmert, was a key to recruiting me up there, and it was a great time, and I have very fond memories of it, T-Bob.
A lot of people that speak about working with you or for you, talking about your skill set as being a visionary. You explained some of that about LSU yesterday. Can you expound on what you see for LSU as you step into this position?
Yeah, I reminded everyone, look, there's some great things and a lot of great things going on at LSU, and it's first steal the kind of code of the doctor's oath that the doctors take, which is the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. So we're going to try not to screw things up, and I'm going to listen a lot, and we're going to continue to, pursue the goals that we have, which is to win championships and to win them with integrity, and make sure that our kids have quality and experiences, and always offer them quality education. And ask them to, just like our coaches and just like everyone that works for us, to do it the right way. And that's the only way I know how to do it, and hopefully that's the way I've done it in the past.
Scott, one thing that I was very impressed with, talking to LSU New Athletic Director Scott Woodward, I'm a fan of history. You seem to be a student of history. A lot of answers yesterday, answered with quotes, historical references. When it comes to your decision-making philosophy, how do you kind of strike that balance between learning from the past but not really being like too beholden to, right? Learning from the past but innovating when you need to. How do you personally work that out?
Yeah, it's a great question. You guys know this, having walked the quads of LSU, and I was thinking about them yesterday and reflecting on them. God, how much I learned in Stubbs Hall there, and from my great professors that I had there, and I classed them.
Scott Woodward's joining us here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Scott, it seems we're having you trouble with your cell. Let's see if we can't patch back up with him, Musso, and get him. We lost him there for a second. See if we can't get him back. But Scott Woodward joining us here. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria.
You okay?
I'm good. I'm good.
You are staying remarkably calm. This is like when somebody goes into shock, like something so bad happens, they go into shock, and then they're really chilled out. Like, you're okay right now. I feel like you're
great
okay.
answer.
Oh man,
Great
yeah,
answer.
that was going somewhere too.
It was a
with
great answer.
Quad and learning
was.
at Stubbs Hall.
Hey, Scott, you there?
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, man?
It was a fantastic answer. We heard the quad and
Stubbs Hall.
Yeah, and Stubbs Hall.
Yeah, and I was reflecting back on that and remembering lectures from great professors that I had there, and walking from there to my car, thinking, God, how did I get here? And you knew you had a good lecture, and so you reflect on that and you use that because history is a great teacher, but also you think forward, and I love spending time with you young guys and learning from what and how you're experiencing things. It's always learning, and it's always a learning and listening experience, and you gain from that. And then of course you put good people and good staff and hire people smarter than you together, and you go forward. I'm no I'm no savant or savior or anything. I'm just a hardworking guy that went to Catholic High and grew up in Baton Rouge. And I just want everyone to know that and see that hey, I've had some great experiences, but also you just do it simply the right way.
Scott Woodward joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. One about you personally. I know you don't like to talk a lot about yourself, but just yesterday, I'd imagine that the call you got about that job being open is a call that you've waited for a long, long time, and then to go through yesterday through the public like that, how cool was that for you?
It was more cool for my family and my mom and dad. You're right. I am very uncomfortable with that, and as the young guys say, I don't like to shine too much. I like laying a little low and kind of being a low key guy, but working hard and making myself accessible in the same way. So yeah, it was very cool, and it was very cool to see so many friends and so many of my old friends. It was very touching, Jordy.
Scott, an answer that I loved yesterday was referencing the Civil War and how the North said, like, we're going to win with our fighting spirit. And Sherman basically saying, like, no, you're going to win because of resources. Like, that's how you win. Resources are the bottom line. And that carries over into athletics. So what is the key? Like, how do you plan on garnering those resources?
The beautiful thing about it, T-Bob, is we have them. We're in the SEC. We're a top 10 school with resources, and we just have to be prudent and smart how we do them, and prudent and smart in how we ask our season ticket holders and donors and everyone else how we take those resources to the field and smart and invest them in our student athletes, invest them in our staff, and invest them in what and how we build new buildings, and it's very important to do that and continue that. And I look forward to that. I couldn't imagine doing it in any other league, and that gives us a distinct advantage. But here again, like I said, just like resources, we have to pull this boat together, and we all have to be in the same direction, and that means every single Tiger all in. And that's what I'm going to ask of all the folks in this wonderful state to do and continue to do.
I love how you referenced Senate Bill 153, and it got through the Judiciary Committee yesterday with a 3-1 vote in the sports gambling bill. And I love how you acknowledged it. You referenced it.
Yeah, that was I was luck more than anything. I hadn't even know that was going on in downtown Baton Rouge, frankly. I just know that, you have to, you can't stick your head in the sand, and you have to be smart about how things are doing and how things are going. And, a great young person asked me the question, hey, what about fan experience and students leaving early and things like that? I said, hey, we have to address it. Mm-hmm. And, they don't consume the product like I did. They didn't go there, a half hour to an hour before the game, buy a program and sit there and eat peanuts and drink a Coke and get ready. They like to do it, very, very differently. And part of that is changing, and that is the gaming piece of it. It's frankly saved the NFL, and it's done effectively in London in the Premier League soccer. And yeah. So in order to engage new fans and new people, we're going to have to look at it. I'm not saying, we're all for it and it's ready to go, but it has to be looked at, and it has to be looked at again with integrity, that we protect student athletes from pulls and from different types of, illicit things that go on in gaming. But the more open and the more sunshine gets on things, the more we can talk about them. That's one of the radical things that we'll look at, and the SEC's, thank goodness, is already looking at with the President's Committee.
It's good to have you home, Scotty. Thanks for the time this morning.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me, and look forward to joining you guys more often.
Absolutely. There he
Yes,
is,
sir.
new athletics director, Scott Woodward, joining us here on Off the Bench. We'll be back with hour number 2.
Off the Bench with Culotta and T-Bob.